Hello aspirants, welcome to Paritranaya IAS editorial analysis session of June 26, 2023. So in this video, we will be discussing about the various articles that have appeared in The Hindu's editorial. So the first one is Tenets of Unity. Next, we will be discussing about Manipur. This is not a time for finger pointing. After that, we will be discussing about the article called as A New Regime. Then Outreach to Diaspora and Statesmanship. We'll next discuss the United States of India, the divided house of GSEs, and finally, uneven progress, stark interstate disparities in Tamil Nadu. So let us begin with the first article, that is the Tenets of Unity. So in this article, the Tenets of Unity, there are no worthy points from Prelims point of view. There are only few points which you can consider from Mains point of view. Otherwise, overall, this article, it does not consist of that though many worthy points from either Prelims or Mains point of view. There are few terms which do appear. For example, what? Federalism and secularism. So as an aspirant, we in the static part, we already know what is federalism and secularism. So if at all you are unable to recall, then you can just read the static books and just connect it to just get connected to what is secularism and what is federalism. Okay, federalism. So the next article is Manipur. This is not a time for finger pointing. So this article, it consists of points which are important from both Prelims as well as Mains point of view. So let us try to understand this, understand the background of this. Based upon that, we will be able to connect with the things which are present over here. So this article is in the context of Manipur. So recently in Manipur, clashes have taken place. So clashes have taken place between two dominant communities, Kukis and Metis. So Kukis and Metis, they are communities in the state of Manipur. So why did the clashes occur? We need to understand the reason. So Metis, so this community was demanding scheduled caste status. Metis were demanding scheduled tribe status. So presently they are not included under scheduled tribe. But Kukis were against the schedule. They are against this. Means Kukis did not want Metis to get scheduled tribe status. So that's why Kukis, they went for a protest. So they went for a protest. So as end result of this protest, what happened? So clashes emerged between Kukis and Metis. So this is the background. So in this context, we need to understand other things. So in this article, some terms do appear. What is that? Inner line. Okay. There is a concept called as inner line permit. So all these things we need to understand. So what is inner line permit? In India, we have freedom, right to freedom of movement. Means any person from any part of India can go to any other part of India. For example, a person of Karnataka can go to Punjab, can go to Jammu and Kashmir. So any places he can go. But there are certain restrictions when it comes to inner line or inner line permit. There are certain regions in northeastern states wherein if you want to go to those places, then you require special permission from the government. So special permission from the government. So that special permission, we call it as inner line permit. Inner line permit. So inner line permit, whether it's just a convention or does it have any kind of statutory backing? So yes, there is a law called as Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation Act of 1873. So under this law, there is a provision of inner line permit. So inner line permit also exists in Manipur. So there are certain places in Manipur. If you want to visit those places, even though you are an Indian citizen, then you have to seek the permission of the government. So this is an important point which has appeared in this article. Next, in this article, another point which is not related to Manipur, but a point related to non-cooperation movement has appeared. Okay? Non-cooperation movement has appeared. So what happened during non-cooperation movement? How did non-cooperation movement come to end? So non-cooperation movement came to an end when Gandhiji called it off following the Chauri Chaura incident. So in Chauri Chaura incident, violence was involved. So Gandhiji was not in favor of violence, and because of that, he called off non-cooperation movement. So these things we can connect. Apart from that, in this article, there is also mention about NATO, Ukraine and Russia. So we are all aware that presently crisis is going on between Ukraine and Russia. So Russia is attacking Ukraine. So what is the major reason here? So the major reason for this is NATO. So NATO is supporting Ukraine, and also NATO wants to make Ukraine as part of it, and Ukraine is also willing to join NATO. And if Ukraine joins NATO, then it becomes a threat to Russia, because Ukraine is a country which shares its border with Russia. So if all the bordering countries of Russia, if they become part of NATO, then probably a day will come wherein NATO will be able to make an attack very easily on Russia. That is why Russia, it has started attacking Ukraine, because of the overtures that are being extended by NATO to Ukraine. So already we have discussed about this in a separate video. You can just refer that video in order to get a detailed picture. Next, here also a term has appeared regarding Doklam. So Doklam is a place in Bhutan. Okay, Bhutan. So in 2017, so China tried to take this place under its control. But if this place, if it goes under the control of China, then it becomes a threat to India. That's why India opposed it. Or again, those developments did take place. So at the superficial level, all these things, they indicate that why all these different developments are happening, because of the territory. Okay, because of the territory. So all these aspects have been covered in this first article. Okay, first article. So here are few things which we need to note from Prelims point of view. So what kind of questions can be framed in Prelims? So generally they may ask you a question like this. So Kukis and Metis, they are the community which are present in central India or western India. So that question will be wrong. So these are the communities present in northeastern India and in Manipur. So they may also ask question like which are the members of North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So we'll not be covering it here. Next, out of curiosity, somewhere in the article a statement appears that Manipur state was formed. So when such statements do appear, it should arouse our curiosity, and based on curiosity we have to add some extra points like when was Manipur formed. So that's why the additional information which I have added, I have indicated it with the help of this red color. So in 1972 Manipur state was formed. Manipur state was formed. Next, there are some historical aspects also which have been discussed here. So when did Britishers set their foot in Northeast India? So first they set their foot in Northeast India in 1826. So Britishers, after taking Assam under their control, they enacted a law called as Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation of 1873. So as part of this act, we came across inner line concept. Okay, inner line concept was introduced. Here another very important statement. So Manipur, it became a British protectorate state. So what is British protectorate state and all, will not go into the deeper aspects, but let us understand that in 1891 Manipur became British protectorate state. So here what is important, whether inner line, the concept of inner line permit was introduced first, or whether Manipur became British protectorate state first. So from these statements we'll understand that first inner line concept was introduced, later on Manipur became a British protectorate state. Next, so already we have seen Metis demanding for scheduled tribe status and all. So in this article again few important terms, Arambai, Tengol and Metis Lipon. So where are they present? In Northeast India. So a question might also be framed like this. So recently we witnessed Torbang mayhem, so which repeatedly appeared in the newspaper. So it is with respect to which state? It is with respect to Manipur. Okay. Next, there are some problems which are faced by Kukis and Metis that have been mentioned. So for example, Kukis, what are the various problems that they faced? So some government policies, so they were against Kukis. For example, government policies against poppy cultivation, illegal migration. So all these they had caused anguish in Kukis as well. Okay, Kukis as well. So here in this context, suspension of operation agreement. So this term has appeared, suspension of operation agreement. So this is with respect to Kuki militants. Okay, so as these clashes are going on, in order to bring down those clashes, so Kuki militants, so whatever the agreement was made under suspension of operation, they have to adhere to it. If they are not adhering, then Assam Rifles should ensure that they will adhere to those agreements that have taken place. Okay, and we already seen that in this context Mahatma Gandhi's courage has also been recalled, wherein he took a decision to call off the non-cooperation movement following Chauri Chaura incident. So all these things, even these points are important from both prelims as well as mains point of view. So in mains, when you are writing answer, so whatever the historical aspects are there, you can just add them in order to create an impression in the evaluator. So how here they have used the example of non-cooperation movement. Next, a new regime, another very important article from both prelims as well as mains point of view. Okay. So here, first let us look into the various entities which are present over here. So one is Drug Controller General of India. Next, mRNA vaccines. Next, FDA, World Health Organization, Emergency Use Authorization, and Omicron. These are few of the terms present here. So what is the news here? Recently, Drug Controller General of India. So Drug Controller General of India, it is responsible for what? Giving licenses. Okay, licenses for the new drugs and also giving permission for the trials. Okay, all these things. So recently what happened? A new mRNA vaccine for COVID-19 has been developed. So what is the name of that vaccine? The name of that vaccine is Jamcovac, OM. So it is name of the new mRNA vaccine which has been developed by Pune-based company, and the name of this company is Genova Biopharmaceuticals. Okay. Generally, UPSC does not focus on the name of the companies and all, but just out of curiosity, let us include that as well. So Pune-based Genova Biopharmaceuticals has developed a new mRNA vaccine which is called as Jamcovac. Now, this vaccine, it has been given permission, it has been cleared by Drug Controller General of India. So what does it mean cleared? It means now this vaccine can be administered to people. So as we have got administered with COVID Shield and Covaxin, similarly we have one more vaccine, that is Jamcovac. Okay, Jamcovac. We need to understand in this context. So we have to find out some extra information. We should explore more. So how is Jamcovac different from COVID Shield? How it is different from Covaxin? So what is an mRNA vaccine? So which one is better? mRNA vaccine is better, or the vaccines which have been developed like COVID Shield and Covaxin is better? So in this way, we have to explore for more information. Okay, more information. Here one more term appears, emergency use authorization. So this term is very important. So whether emergency use authorization exists in India? Yes, emergency use authorization exists in India. What does it mean? So generally, when we go for vaccine trial and all, so it involves multiple phases. So here I have shown. So when it comes to vaccine development, it involves multiple stages. So first we'll start with petri dishes, and then we'll try it on animals. Finally, we'll do human experiment. And after that, it has to go through various scrutinization. After all those things, finally, our vaccine will be approved. Okay, so probably this approval of the vaccination may take years together, and probably sometimes even a decade as well. That is close to 10 years. But during COVID-19, what happened? If we go for all this procedure, then it will consume a lot of time, and a lot of lose lot of lives. So that's why we use the provision which was called as emergency use authorization. So in case of emergency use authorization, that approval process will take place in a faster manner. So in this article, what the author wants to highlight is, sometimes when we go for emergency use authorization very frequently, then probably it may become a concern for us. So what is that concern? The vaccine which we have developed might not be safe. So this is the overall perspective of this article. Okay. So, and World Health Organization, what it is, it has officially declared the end of COVID-19. Even this is important. So World Health Organization, so the global health body has already declared that COVID-19 pandemic has ended. Okay, has ended. And here, see, we come across a term called as Omicron variant. So when it comes to COVID-19 virus, there are different variants. So Omicron is one of the dominant variant. So now whatever the new vaccines that they have developed, it predominantly targets Omicron variant. Okay, we have Omicron variant. And also we come across some words like booster dose and precautionary doses. We need to understand the meaning of these. So what are booster doses? So already we have taken vaccine, and in order to enhance its efficacy, I will add what will get administered with one more dose of vaccine. Precautionary doses and all, so they mean the same. Next, and as the WHO has declared end of the COVID, then people will be less interested to get administered with the vaccine. Then what is the significance of this new vaccine? The significance of new vaccine is that till now no Indian company had produced mRNA based vaccine for COVID-19. So it will become the first mRNA based COVID vaccine in India. Okay, so this is the significance of this. And what is the advantage of mRNA based vaccines? It is believed to be amenable to rapid production and scale up. So what does it mean? Now we'll develop one kind of vaccine, but later on, if that disease changes its character, then we need to change the vaccine as well. So when we want to change the vaccine with respect to other technologies, building new vaccines will take time. But when it comes to mRNA technology, building of new vaccines, it will become easier. So, and also it can be rapidly produced in a very large manner, in a very faster manner. So these are the advantages of mRNA based vaccines. Okay, mRNA based vaccines. So in this context, okay, US Food and Drug Administration, an organization has appeared. So generally UPSC may focus on such organizations as well. So Food and Drug Administration, whether it belongs to USA or Europe or Russia, so those kind of questions can be framed. Okay, so even we need to understand them as well. Next, so the provisions related to emergency use authorization, where do they exist? So they exist in India's drug related rules, that is new drugs and clinical trials trial rules that were framed in 2019. Even that information is important. Okay, so finally at the end of the article, the author concludes that when we are giving faster approvals, so we need to also take care that the drugs or the vaccines which are being approved, they are safe enough. Okay, they are safe enough. This is what he wants to conclude. So there are points important from both prelims as well as mains point of view. Next, outreach to diaspora and statesmanship. So there are few points which are important here from prelims point of view, and majority of the other points here are important from mains point of view. Okay, mains point of view. So first we need to understand, if at all we are not aware, diaspora. Who are diaspora? So the Indians who are residing outside, who are working outside. Okay, so all these communities we call them as diaspora. For example, Indian diaspora in United States of America, Indian diaspora in Sri Lanka, Indian diaspora in European Union, and so on. So here in this context, specifically they are discussed with respect to what? Tamil diaspora. So here just I listed. The Tamil diaspora has excelled in politics, economics, literature, the fine arts, sports and science. So few of the names which have been mentioned here. So basically they are from Tamil region, and as a diaspora they have excelled in different fields. So they have mentioned, the author has mentioned multiple names. So all these names, it will be difficult for us to recall, but at least few of the names if we are able to recall and quote the same while writing the mains answers, then definitely they'll turn out to be beneficial. So for example, the most famous example we already know, Raghuram Rajan. So RBI, ex-RBI governor, and we also know about Sundar Pichai. So few of these examples can be quoted. So no, all the names are not important from exam point of view. So in this context, in the context of diaspora, so two statements made by Jawaharlal Nehru in Malaya in 1946 have appeared, and these points can be important from mains point of view. So what are the statements made by Jawaharlal Nehru? When India becomes free, her hands will be long and powerful to protect each and every one of her children abroad. So he had made a statement that all the children of India who are abroad, so India will extend every kind of support to help them. Also, he made Indians abroad must remain united and guard their rights and uphold their heads proudly as Indians, children of a country with a great past and greater future. He also mentions that, so all those who are residing outside, they should also be proud of our country. So these are few of the statements. So not important from prelims, but from mains point of view, they'll be beneficial. Here are few instances where the hopes of Nehru were shattered. Okay, they have been mentioned. So point to point, everything is not important. So here, few of the laws or the way Indian diaspora was treated in Sri Lanka. So the expectation of India was different, but the way they were treated in Sri Lanka, it was different. So in this way, whatever the hopes Nehru had, so they were shattered. So one example has been mentioned here. So Indian Tamils. who went to Sri Lanka to provide labor in the tea plantations. In Sri Lanka, in tea plantations in order to work. So Indian Tamils, they went there. But there, Sri Lanka, it denied to give them citizenship. They were not willing to give citizenship to India. So in this case, when Nehru insisted that the people of Indian origin and who have gone to Sri Lanka, and if they want to settle there itself, then Sri Lanka should come forward and it should give the citizenship. But when they denied it, and they also said that it is our sovereign right, it is our will, our wish, whether we will give it or not. Okay. So in this fashion, Indian diaspora in Sri Lanka, it did not get proper protection or proper rights. Next, one more example is of Burmese government. So Burma also, it did not grant citizenship to thousands of Indian Tamils who had gone there for work. So these are few of the examples that have been quoted. So the same examples you can quote when it comes to mains. Okay, mains. Next, in this context, one point will be very important from what Prelims point of view. So Sirimao Shastri Pact. So generally UPSC might pose a question like this. So Sirimao Shastri Pact. So it appears in the context of which country? India and which other country? So here we need to understand that it is in the context of India and Sri Lanka. Okay, India and Sri Lanka. So this pact, which was signed by Shastri, it is often what? It is often criticized because of this policy, almost what? Indian Tamil community, they were treated as merchandise. Okay, like goods. So they were divided between what? India and Sri Lanka. Some of them will stay in India, some of them will stay in Sri Lanka. So that's why often important leaders of Madras presidency, so it may be Rajagopalachari, Kamraj Annadurai, so P. Ramamurthy, so all of them, they were against it. Okay, they were against it. So they were against it. This point can be beneficial from what? Mains point of view. Otherwise, even in Prelims also, they may pose a question like this. So all the important leaders of Madras presidency were in favor of Sirimao Shastri Pact. So if they frame such kind of statement, then definitely it will be wrong. It will be wrong. Next, a very important point from Prelims point of view. So generally UPSC focuses. So when it comes to making policies towards the Indian diaspora, so who has that power? Whether states have the power, center have the power, or both of them have the power. So very important point to note here is, when it comes to policy towards Indian diaspora, it is the exclusive jurisdiction of the central government. So state governments do not have any power with respect to what? Making of policies towards the Indian diaspora. So again, in this context, one more important point is Citizenship Amendment Act, which we have brought in 2019. So the details of the Citizenship Amendment Act we have discussed in a separate video. You can just refer the same. But in this context, what is the important point that we have to note? So Citizenship Amendment Act, it does not extend to Sri Lanka. It does not extend to Sri Lanka. So in this context, just out of curiosity, try to find out to which all countries Citizenship Amendment Act applies. Okay, to which all countries Citizenship Amendment Act applies. Okay. Next, so now presently, what is the stand of India? So India considers Sri Lankan Tamil refugees as illegal immigrants. Okay, illegal immigrants. So they are not covered under Citizenship Amendment Act. Here again, the author has highlighted few things. So he says that those who are Indian Tamils who have come from Sri Lanka, and they have all the residential qualifications to get the Indian citizenship. Okay, under the Indian Citizenship Act. So that's why they should be given citizenship, is the point which is being emphasized by the writer. And also at the same time, Indian Tamil refugees, they are close to 29,500. So they are stateless. So India should make an attempt to give citizenship to them, is the point made by the author or the writer. Okay. So these points sufficient. Next, the United States of India. The United States of India. So just we shall look at the superficial level. So there are few points important from Prelims point of view, and others important from Mains point of view. So here in this article, what has been emphasized, or what they argue is, or they have proposed, they have represented the views of few of them. So few scholars argued that what distinguishes the South from the North politically is its language of politics, its regional parties and demands, and all these things. So finally, they say that when it comes to North India and South India is more progressive compared to North India. They say that South India is more progressive than South India. South India is more progressive than North India. And this opinion was also expressed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in 1956. And what are the reasons for that? There are few of the reasons have been highlighted here. Okay, few of the reasons have been highlighted here. So in this context, Jawaharlal Nehru has appeared, Rajendra Prasad has appeared, and there are examples of where Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has criticized the moves of Jawaharlal Nehru and Rajendra Prasad as well. So not that much important from exam point of view. But here the important point to note here is the northern part of India and the southern part of India. So what kind of idea they had about India, or what kind of India they wanted to establish. So there are two ideas. One is unitary idea, another one is federation of nationalities. So we need to understand this term. So when we say unitary India, presently India is a union of states. So federation of state means, or federation of nationalities means, where they will form a country based on understanding. Okay, for example, as it exists in United States of America. So in European Union, so there are different countries, but they have formed a union. So in the south, they wanted to establish what? A country similar on the lines of European Union, like federation of nationalities. Whereas the northern part of India, they wanted to establish what? A country which is unitary India, which is unitary. And in order to make it unitary, we want something in common, especially language. Okay, especially language. But when it comes to language, the southern states were unwilling to accept Hindi as their language. So these are the points which have been highlighted here. So, but finally, now what kind of country we have? India is a what? Union of states. It is not federation of states. Okay, federation of states. So all these things we have already discussed in statics polity part. So you can just look back to those topics in order to gain out clear understanding. So at the superficial level, what we understood. So there are two ideas. One is unitary India. Another one is federation of nationalities. So people or freedom fighters from the northern part of India, they wanted a unitary India, whereas the southern part, the major developments or the major movements which were initiated, they were in favor of federation of nationalities. So in this context, an organization has appeared, Andhra Mahasabha, and also they have mentioned about the important leaders associated with Andhra Mahasabha. So Konda Venkatapaya and Pattabi Sitaramaya, so they were the famous leaders of Andhra Mahasabha. So even we have to focus on these names as well, because UPSC generally asks such kind of questions. So it may give match a following type of question, and it may ask us to correctly match the pairs. So in that context, even this becomes important. Okay. In that context, it becomes important. And when it comes to mains point of view, you can quote, so Andhra Mahasabha, whether it was in favor of unitary India or federation of nationalities. So it was in favor of federation of nationalities and not in favor of unitary India. So okay. So again, few of the points are present here. So in order to hold it as united, so one language is required, but we do not have a common language. So all those various problems have been highlighted here. Next, we have an article called as the divided house of JACs, Joint Action Committees. So it is with respect to what? Creation of Telangana and all. So there are no worthy points here, either from the prelims point of view or mains point of view. So this article can be completely ignored. Next, the last article, but very important article. Okay, very important article. So here, even though the article speaks about the Tamil Nadu, but here what we are interested is with respect to few of the terms which are present over here. Okay. So generally we call socio-economic indicators. So what are socio-economic indicators? So gross enrollment ratio means the number of students getting admitted into the school or higher education. So that we call it as what? Gross enrollment ratio. So it's an example of what? Socio-economic indicator. If gross enrollment ratio is more, it means more and more people are getting educated. So it's a good sign. Similarly, infant mortality. So number of children dying at what? Below the age of 5. Infant mortality. So or even below the age of 1. So that is called as infant mortality. So if infant mortality is more, then it is bad. If it is less, then it is good. Similarly, stunted children. So what is stunted children? If so low height for age. If a child does not have a proper height appropriate to his or her age, then we consider it as stunted. So less stunted means good sign, more stunted means it's a bad sign. So these are all the what various social indicators. So in this article, there are various social indicators. I just mentioned here 3. Now see here. So share of households that use clean fuel. So what is the clean fuel? Electricity, LPG, natural gas and biogas for cooking. So again it is considered as what? A socio-economic indicator. Improved sanitation, good toilet facilities, an indicator of socio-economic indicator. Next, multi-dimensional poverty index. So even this is a sign of what? Socio-economic indicator. So these are various points which are beneficial from both prelims as well as mains point of view. So specifically from prelims, what information can be written from it? So one example. Now UPSC may frame a question like this. So which among the following states has the highest gross enrollment ratio in higher education? So here we have a point that Tamil Nadu, it leads the country in terms of gross enrollment ratio. Gross enrollment ratio in higher education. So this point is very important from prelims point of view. Similarly, it may ask us questions like, so which is the state with the highest infant mortality? So here values are absent, but out of curiosity what we can do, we can find this extra information and we can add here itself. So which is the state with the highest mortality, infant mortality. Similarly, we can also add what we can find out that which state has the highest share with respect to stunted children. Okay, so all this extra information we can add. Next, what is clean fuel? So we need to know what is clean fuel and all. So similarly, for all of these various socio-economic indicators we can add. So which state has the highest improved sanitation? Which state has the highest share of households with respect to clean fuel? So this information will be beneficial from both prelims as well as mains point of view. And next, from prelims point of view, they may even pose a question like this. So when it comes to multi-dimensional poverty index, so what are the various parameters that it includes? It includes health, it includes education as well as standard of living. So these 3 parameters are part of multi-dimensional poverty index. And we also need to know, so in multi-dimensional poverty index, what does 0 mean and what does 1 mean? So 1 means what? Least poor. So 1 means most poor. So as the value close to 0, then it is better. So all these things we have to know and understand from prelims point of view as well as mains point of view. So this was about today's editorial. Similarly, in the subsequent videos, we will be discussing about the other important topics related to UPSC Civil Services examination. For all the important updates, subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon. Thank you.